Alright, it's Friday, May 3rd. Back working on the truck for part 2. Been getting some rain this morning, so I'm not sure how much of this I'll be able to film, because the sun's not really out and the lighting's already very poor in here anyhow. But basically, gotta find my replacement sending unit assembly with the pump, because I bought a Delphi one, and then I also ordered a replacement filler neck. The rubber tubing was just petrified, but that's the rubber filler neck hose. It feels like it's as hard as steel. And then I'll need to unbolt it from here. I'm not sure if it would make more sense to mount that to the tank first or to the truck first. Alright, this seems to be a 7mm. Let's see if this will even come out. Screws are all crusty and tight, so I might need 2 hands. All those little 7mm bolts came out. Not sure if there's anything else holding this in from underneath. Probably have to look at that next. So looking underneath, this first hose clamp is going around a bracket mounted to the bed up here. So I think after I loosen off this first hose clamp, this whole thing will come down. Alright, got the filler neck completely out. There's the old versus the new. But I don't see the other hose clamp around this, so might have to just take this one off and put it around here to hold this up and support it with that bracket under here. Otherwise, this new one should just fit into the new tank right around here, like that. And then our vent valve will go in here. I got a new one of those from Rock Auto. Then obviously the sending unit and pump assembly goes in here. And you connect all your lines and your electrical connections. And then the straps are in that box. They're just straight, so I have to figure out how to mount those and bend them properly around the tank. And then the weird thing I noticed was there's a bunch of just rubber and paper looking plastic junk above the old tank between this and the frame rail or whatever. And that was all just deteriorated stuff, so I don't know if that's just sound damping material kind of stuff above that tank. And I don't know if that's necessary, but this thing already kind of rattles going down the road since it's over 30 years old anyway, but we'll see what else I can do here. Well, you guys might be able to see this. I've kind of got the new thing in here. Rubber hose going up above the frame. But yeah, this hose clamp here is to fit around the top lip of this little bracket on the bed. Butts up against the bracket there, and then this hose clamp supports it. Like the band goes around this bracket there to support it, and then your 3 little screws go in. Well, this didn't appear to have come with new screws, but these holes are a little small for the old screws, so I'm gonna have to drill them out a little larger, and then hopefully we can make this work. Alright, take 2. This should fit all these screws now. I got the 3 holes lined up here, but this part in here is a little cockeyed, so I'm hoping that's not much of an issue, if anything. Alright, not perfect, but the screws are in. Let's see how this one is. Yeah, that's totally straight. It's probably not the end of the world though. Gas cap over there was in better shape than this one. Old Motorcraft, and then the little thing's gone. And then, shoot, I gotta see how this even fits into here. I guess it's okay. Didn't really think about that, but alright, so now I've got my new sending unit and pump assembly. So what I would like to try to do now is see if I can test this to be sure the sending unit registers with the gauge on the dash, and to make sure the pump runs. Alright, don't mind how ghetto this is, but I've got the electrical wiring connected up with the harness in there. And then I've got my accessory on. And it's switched to the front tank. Now if I switch to the rear, this should be telling me how much fuel is in the rear, which doesn't look like a whole lot. Because this gauge always worked for the rear tank as long as I've had the truck, but it's probably not perfectly accurate. Probably fluctuates a little bit. Now we'll go back to the front, so it's moving. That's a good sign. And I have this water bottle just to hold this all the way down, so that should be on empty. Now I'll just try to move this up a little more. It's awkward, but I just don't want to put strain on the wiring down there. So that went up. That's good. Let's try to go up a little more, and then maybe we'll see if I can get that all the way up to full and whether it registers on the gauge. So it's climbing. That's a good sign. There's a fly in the truck that needs to leave. And now it's going up to full, or just past full, so I mean, that should be accurate enough, I would think. Now if I switch this back to the rear, it should go back down. So obviously the gas I have in the rear tank is the only fuel in the truck currently, which isn't a lot. So I'm happy to see this is working at least. Now I want to keep it on the front and then turn this off. And press this inertia switch and then try to see if the pump cycles on for a second or two. Alright, I have to press the inertia switch again. This is set to the front. Now I just want to hear if this comes on. Ooh, that sounds nice. I was hoping I'd be able to do this without trying to pressurize the system since I'm still working on it. But that's good news. I'm happy. I mean, of course, just because it's making electrical noises doesn't entirely guarantee that it's actually going to be moving fuel, but so far so good anyway. Alright, so continuing on, gotta put this sending unit thing into the tank. So it should go on this way. Again, on this old one, I don't know if that little check valve thing was originally on there, if somebody added that after the fact, just to keep the fuel from draining from one tank to the other with this pump being dead, or however the system works with the return lines and whatnot. So I don't know if I still need that, hopefully not. But anyway, the sending unit and pump came with its own lock ring and gasket, but the tank itself also included one of these. So I have 2 sets of these, and then the pump one even included new duckbill clips and some other screws for something. So that's cool. Alright, I brushed just a light coating of grease around there. This gasket fits right into that groove pretty nicely. And then our unit's gonna go in. And then we've got the lock ring. Okay, I got our sending unit lowered in there. I was almost a little worried about this turning, but it seems like it's in there pretty good. You can see it down in there. So now we just need our lock ring. I don't know what these little tabs are for sticking up out of here, but it would have to go on this way. There's no other way for this to fit on there. Alright, the lock ring's fully seated in there. I guess these tabs sticking up make it easier to put your screwdriver or punch against there to hit it with the hammer more effectively and evenly all the way around. So that's fully in there, which is good. Now I think probably just about ready to try and get this tank back up under there. Actually, this is the rear of the tank. I need to flip it the other way. Because, yeah, the filler neck has to go into here, so I gotta turn this around. Alright, so this slides on front. Probably need 2 hands again, but like that. Alright, then we gotta go in with the new vent valve because the old one was all decomposed. Might need 2 hands to jam this in there. I'm calling it quits for today. These tank straps are awful. They just came flat, and I don't have metal bending tools, so I can't bend sharp enough corners in them to get them fitted without wasting some of the length. And then they're too short to bolt up under there, being bent so poorly like this. So anyway, that's the end of part 2. Stay tuned for part 3. Thanks for watching.